Hey there, welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today I want to talk with you about internationalization and when should we have multiple language on our apps or not. So I've recently started a new project with Alex, the co-founder of Weirdly, that I've worked with him for a long time. So he's been focusing on a specific domain in the domain of sustainability, and he challenged me to help him on a specific project. And this focus is more on the German market. So German is a must-have language for his tool. So in order for such a project to work, we need to have the support of multiple languages since day one. And that has been a little bit more challenging in the beginning to start because you need to set up all the needed dependencies and all the infrastructure that it's needed for this internationalization to work. It's not impossible at all. And I think the sooner you do it, the easier it becomes. But it brings a lot of complexity to your project. So also the sooner you do it, also the sooner the complexity increases. But in this project, we didn't have any other choice. This also reminds me on Weirdly case. So with Weirdly, we just started with the English app, like most apps start. And I think that's the best way to do it because you see if there's a need, and then if there's a need, you can open up two different markets. But because Alex is most focusing on the marketing side and on the customer acquisition, so he has a lot of connections in Germany because he's originally from there. And all the DACH market here in between Germany, Switzerland, and Austria has been our core market for Weirdly. So we soon realized that we could not only have our platform running only on English, because German people really like their own language. Also, most of them, or not all most of them, but a big part of it are not super fluent on English. So German is a must-have language if you want to enter into this market. You cannot neglect that, and you cannot live with just an English. So at some point during Weirdly, like maybe, I don't know, maybe 6-9 months in, we needed to add a new language. And we had already a lot of strings spread all over the code, everywhere in the code. So this definitely was not a good choice because it took us a lot of time to identify all the strings and transform them into a proper internationalization structure. So now that I'm doing also another app that it's focused on this German market, I need to add the internationalization structure since day one. So there's no other way that we can leave it without it. So instead of just trying to do either German and then don't have the English version, or just English and don't have the German version from day one, that doesn't make sense. In this particular case, that we are really focused on the German market, it's clear that we need internationalization on the app since day one. However, this is not always needed or not always envisioned in the beginning. I think many of us underestimate the value of having the support to multiple language on our products. I know that it seems to be like just for advanced products, but I think on the other end, this opens a lot of markets. I'm sure that, for example, for Weirdly, if we would not have the support for German, we would not have as many events as we did, because this opens a market that was not addressed by other platforms there. So I think this should also be taken into account when deciding in the beginning if we should support it or not. It brings a lot of complexity because you also need, it's not only having the product that has support to multiple language, you also need to have all the documentation, all the support, and people are expecting that if you have an app in German, that you also speak German. And just as a small anecdote, I had a lot of people talking with me in German when I did customer support. But thanks to Crisp, I was able to answer in English, and it automatically translates to German, and they feel that I was answering or fully fluent in German. And then when I need to jump on a call with them, then okay, you don't speak German then. So it was funny in that sense. But in any case, I think this is super interesting for the entrepreneur, because this opens really local markets that sometimes are not super explored as the English one. So take that into account and try to see if this opens possibilities for you to leverage these different markets and different languages for your own niche. And maybe it can, maybe it doesn't, but sometimes it can open some market. On the technical side, I say that it's more complex, and it's true because you need to always think that it's not just put a string in English and just do that. No, you need to do that on the multiple language. But the base structure, once you have the base structure, then you have the procedure. It becomes more or less natural, but it still creates an overhead at every single string that you add. That's for sure. But I think the gains can be better than the side effect that it has because you have a full new market that you can address. On the technical side, I implemented these on top of Next.js. So for that, I used the i18 Next package, essentially for the server components and all the server side. But then on the front end, I used the package React i18 Next that allows you to have some hooks that automatically address that with the languages. So happy to help anyone that's entering into this internationalization and give some tips on how to implement it. I spent some times handling because with Next you can also implement that on the middleware that with the i18 and a router, but in that case it automatically creates a new route for a new local. And I wanted in the dashboard to not have that on the URL, but more getting the language that the platform is set based on the user profile. But on the blog side and on the landing page, this could be interesting. So I decided to create a mix between the two modes and not only one. So it creates a little bit more complexity, but as soon as you understand the concepts and where are each part, it becomes more or less natural how it works. So at the end, it's not super complex. You just need to understand it a little bit more, and you can go from there. I also asked on Twitter some different tools, and there's another one that seems also super interesting and easy to work with. There's another library that seems also super easy to work with, which is Next Input. But I haven't tried that yet because once I've seen it, I've already implemented before, and it's working. I don't want to change it, but seems also super easy and simpler maybe than the i18. So give a look, try out. Feel free to ping me if you need some help or not, and I'm happy to support. In summary, I think internationalization might really open you to another market, especially if you have connections there and you're working on an international English market. Try to explore it. Maybe it's gonna get a surprise. So in German market, for example, it's quite big, but there are other languages that also have big opportunities. For example, I'm also from Portugal, so I could eventually explore the Portuguese market, not only Portuguese from Portugal, but Portuguese from Brazilian, because it's also very big. So there's a lot of opportunities in non-English markets that you could eventually explore as entrepreneurs. So don't underestimate that. And if you think that this could be an option, also try to implement it soon, because the longer you wait, the also more work you're gonna have. But on the other side, you only want to do that if you're sure that there's a space there. So try to verify that it's really the case, and then go from there. Good. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. A little bit late than usual because as you might have seen, my voice is not the greatest. So I'm not super in great shape, but I try to still release this episode and talk what I've been focusing mostly this week with this new project that I'm helping Alex with. So I hope you enjoy. I think it was an important step for us on Virtually when we introduced multiple language on our platform. And I think it's good to create this awareness on all of us. That's not only English that has a potential, but there are a lot of different languages around the world that have a lot of users that only focus on this language or must feel much more familiar when they have an application that runs on their own language. So I hope you enjoyed. And if you need any help, let me know. Have a good week, everyone. Cheers.